Joyful Christian Hermit, and on the way back from pain doctor, and went to Costco and they had watermelon at this other Costco, this larger. So I got 4 because they'll just sit there in their place for days or whatever. So price is right, and I've been to ER. I don't know. I tried to do a video, but I don't know if it posted it. My camera's been acting up. Well, it is involved with when my arachnoiditis pain is bad. It acts up, and I'm very ill feeling from I have what's called Septic Shock Syndrome, or sepsis syndrome, and it's so it imitates the septic shock. I feel sick, and I had odd symptoms that I looked up yesterday, finally. Well, I had a voice in my head say, look up, and these were my symptoms: pain, swollen joint, and bad taste in mouth. So I Googled that, and up comes, if you've had septic shock, this could be a recurrence of your septic shock, and if the joint that's swollen is, or if the swollen part is a joint that has had previous prosthetic surgery, replacement surgery, then you're having a recurrence of your septic shock. So, and it was in my left knee. It got huge, and it was so painful I could barely make it to the garage to get crutches out. It was horrific pain in that left knee, and it got huge. It's always large. So, in the meantime, my daughter was going to come and take me to I was going to go to an orthopedic urgent care, thinking that was it, but no. So I told the daughter, well, we need to get to ER, because I had to get checked to make sure I didn't have septic shock, have infection. So, but no, I didn't. But what an ordeal at the ER. Just crazy. My blood test came out okay, but they wanted to do all kinds of other tests. They did a knee x-ray, and I told them no, because by then my knee swelling was going down, some of the pain was, and swelling. I said, no, there's nothing wrong with my knee. I could tell there wasn't. It was just this septic shock syndrome. And I didn't know. I know I had read about it when I self-diagnosed at home to know I needed to get to ER to get checked for the septic shock recurrence. But no, they didn't listen, so I had x-rays of my knee, and of course there's nothing wrong with it. And then he wanted to do heart tests, and I refused. I asked this ER doctor, are you aware of arachnoiditis? Oh, yes. Then he proceeds to ask me questions that show he absolutely knows nothing about arachnoiditis. It gets so frustrating for me. So he wanted to do an EKG, and I said, I don't have anything wrong with my heart. Well, but you're 74. And I said, no, it's my arachnoiditis. It radiates through. But I don't know that, he says. I said, but I do know. I said, this happens a lot. It comes through from my thoracic spine. That's terrible. So he left. I said, I don't want it. I can go home. And in comes the nurse with this stuff to do an EKG. And I told her, and in the meantime, I had texted my daughter, who'd come and stayed with me, but she had to go to an appointment, a meeting. So she left. She texted me and said, text me if you need me to come and be there. Because, me and ER, after what they did the last time, once they find out you're a pain patient, and I have another story about that from my pain doctor that's It's horrific with one of his patients. But so I told her, come, I'm walking out, I'm getting out of here. And but the nurse then came with all this EKG stuff, and I told her, I said, no, I said no EKG. I don't have heart troubles, nothing in my family, and it doesn't matter if the doctor doesn't know or not. I do, and it's my arachnoiditis, and I'm leaving. And she says, oh, that's okay. She says, I understand. She was very kind. The nurses tend to be. And the doctors, I don't know. Ego, why he would bother. It didn't matter. I mean, it wasn't any big deal if he doesn't know about arachnoiditis. But don't lie. Why? It was just a waste of time. And he didn't know a thing. He maybe heard of it. He said, oh, yes, I know about it. And so that's what I figured. Something goofy still was wrong with me. And when I got home, I reviewed what I had read earlier in the day and saw the septic shock syndrome. It's not, if you don't have an active infection, it imitates. Except this odd, bad taste in the mouth is a new thing. I didn't have that with the septic shock. That's if you have a recurrence of it. But I don't have the infection, but I have the symptoms. So I suppose anytime I get this syndrome, repeat, I'll have to go back just to make sure. Or go to an urgent care maybe and ask for blood tests. That would be the best thing rather than the ER. You wait so long, and I was so sick. So you feel sick like you have it. And I didn't sleep last night. Sleeplessness is another indication of this syndrome. So I'm doing a video because I was struggling. I didn't want my mind to go out away from my conscious ability while I'm driving. So one would think, oh, this is dangerous. But it's no different than talking to a person in the truck, if a person were here, or me talking with the dogs. But I have to do this so that I will stay alert. My mind can stay conscious and actively doing something, thinking and talking. I have not much left in my little hot water ginger drink with lots of Miralax in it. I'm very, very stopped up. So that's making me ill also. Nothing is working. So I'm pretty sure it's the arachnoiditis doing it. But no, I don't know. But there's no test they can find out. I know it is that's the obvious only thing that it could be. My goodness, I've had arachnoiditis 38 years. It's about time that my intestines go. I know people who are bedridden far sooner, but you see, I push and push. By the grace of God, I push my body. So this is the other situation. My pain doctor I had to get my pump refilled this morning, or I wouldn't be out at all, because I'm so unwell. But it's not anything serious. It's just symptoms. So I was telling him, I said, it was horrible being in ER, so I had my daughter come back, and I said I had my daughter take me, because I didn't want to be without someone to fight for me. I did not want to ever be Narcaned again, and let alone twice. So he said, well, that he had a patient. He was in his mid-50s, a pain patient. And he had pain in his back, terrible sharp pain. And it was, he had ended up being a pain in his aorta, in his back. And he died in my pain doctor's waiting room on the floor because he had been to the ER saying something's wrong, something out he was a pain patient and wouldn't treat him. Told him to get out. And because he was a pain patient, and he died. He had a ruptured aorta that was shooting pain into his back. So, it's a sad day in our country when people have become so freaked out about low-dose pain med for people who need it. That poor man, not even that old, died right there in the waiting room of my pain doctor's office. It's so sad. It's so sad. Isn't it something? So, well, the good news is that this Costco had watermelon. We need some good news. And, I also had a talk with my daughter on the way to the hospital yesterday, late afternoon. And, I said, even in the hospital we were talking, and I said, well, I've come to understand that unconditional love means laying my life down for another. And I said, so I'm willing to trade. It doesn't matter if I suffer. She says, Mom, I am not having that. She just shook her head and said, no. She knows that my knee, and I got sick from helping, standing too long on the floor in her townhome. It's concrete pad. But like a fool myself, I ended up standing in my driveway too long, day before yesterday, and that might have brought on this septic shock syndrome. I don't know, but regardless, I was the fool. I was sealing different of these hair stones, and they were in the garage, so I put them out in the drive. And I didn't do it long, but it was enough. It was enough to really flare me. So that was my fault. But anyway, that's it. And she says, Mom, there's a dog. Mercy sees a dog. Mercy, no barking. A lady's walking her old cocker spaniel. Such a sweet little dog. Mercy has become extremely verbal. Alert and verbal. So they still like to stick their heads out the bedroom window and bark if they see someone, even way across the pond. So I'm trying to train them to stop, but they don't. I think they've gotten worse with their barking. So that's it. And so many people have been so indoctrinated against pain meds for people who need them, even. Especially. There's no need for it. And they've scared people. I bet a lot of you wouldn't want to ever take a pain med for fear of being addicted. And you won't be addicted if you have pain. I have been, forget, because I get in enough pain. I say my mind leaves, and it's become sort of an automatic pain management thing with me. That my mind will just go out. So I've had couple mornings that I forgot to take my 12-hour pain release pill. It's a low dose, but it's a strong pain med. And it's a 12-hour release, lowest milligram, 15 milligram. And so it's not like I'm getting it all at once, even. And so I would forget, my mind, I'd be in pain, and my mind would go, and I wouldn't take it. And I did not have any type of effect, other than pain, a lot of pain. One day I went full get so many, certain amount. And I'm very conscientious. The pain doctor can trust me without hesitation. But at first he can't afford to. There are people addicts who go to pain doctors and fake pain because there's no way to judge it really. He trusted me immediately because I suppose I took my daughter with me. That was it. The first appointment I took her with me to validate because it gets difficult with doctors. Very difficult. Well, they have lots coming to them who want the pain meds who don't need them. But the next time I went to him, he ordered an MRI just to see what was going on with my back. But he wasn't doubting me, I don't think, because I think they can get, some especially can become pretty astute at seeing signals. I got off that road and got on a less trafficked one. So it's very pleasant on this road. A little further maybe, but very pleasant. So a lot of open space. It's the road I did take on the way to the greenhouse. But, so the MRI came back and he's, oh my goodness, we've got to get you to a surgeon. It's got to be the best surgeon. You need a surgery. Oh my goodness, So he knew then with the MRI for sure. So, if you have but if you have a chronic condition that doesn't involve, say, your spine or something, which there are conditions that cause tremendous pain, and you don't have a bone that you can check to see if it's bad or anything. So, but I intentionally probably over-scrupulous because I feel sorry for the pain doctor dealing with people or who are always wanting more and more. Oh no. I am actually under-medicated now. I need more than what I have. In fact, I'll need to count when I get, I think I took the pain. Yes, I did this morning. I did. I remember now. But because of this septic shock syndrome, I'm in worse pain. My knee didn't get as horrific, but then in the night, my left foot was very, very bad. But I've not had surgery on it, but it's been bad. I'm getting neuropathy, which is the start with arachnoiditis of becoming paralyzed. But it can take a long while, as long as I keep busy. But I'm going to have to take it easy today, and I did nothing yesterday. I couldn't really put weight on it until later day. But that's a situation, and the doctor was very patronizing in the ER, and I didn't react well. God forgive me. But it just gets old. And it's, well, but you're 74, you could be having a heart attack. No, I am too used to the arachnoiditis radiating pain every which way, sending neurological symptoms and signals out from my goofed up spine, the nerves in my spine. The arachnoid membrane was accidentally slit or punctured back in 1987 in that rushed second surgery after I was dying. So I died actually and came back. God sent me back, but the surgeon, they called him back and he rushed me in because I was having massive cardiac arrests. And it turned out the rods he put in my back were bent a little too much, distended a little too much, causing me these cardiac arrests with a heart rate that the EMS drivers who took me home 18 days later in an ambulance, and I was in a hospital bed at home for over 3 months, 3.5 months. They said no one would live with a heart rate like that. So it was all miraculous. All miraculous. It was miraculous that I survived this septic shock. Not that you can't. Some can. It's not normal to survive it. But given the fact that they wasted probably an hour or two Narcaning me, thinking I was an overdose, and filled with loaded with narcotics, as he said. And I don't know, I think the EMS guys had to give me something in an IV sitting on my toilet because I was so in pain I couldn't be moved. So that was an experience. You lose all inhibition when you get sick enough and have had enough experiences that it's like, nothing. You lose a sense of self. You really do, and it doesn't matter. And thanks be to God, the nurses are so wonderful, usually, and they've been through it all and see it all. And if I would always try to help, and be kind, because what they go through and what they have to do to human beings that is invasive and icky, the doctors tend not to do those things. So God bless the nurses. So get through this day, and I'm just very, very grateful. Very grateful. So I've got to turn in my little subdivision. I went a little further than usual, but I like to go this other way. So such a beautiful area. So at least I'm relieved. My daughter understands, and she does not want me to suffer. So I'm going to just hang in with my house, and until I can, I guess, get to a point where I can, she understands. We're going to hopefully, I hope she will do it, and I'll contribute. I'll get an equity line of credit loan and contribute, because these other townhomes are a little more expensive. But they're the ones that they're nearby, and if it got to the point, I don't like driving. I wouldn't have been out, but I had to get the pump refilled, or the alarm goes off, and then you're in trouble with it. If I get the pump out, I have to, and don't replace it, which needs to be done in about a year. You have to gradually go off. But I figured, even if I wasn't able to come today, because he's in another office tomorrow, and then the alarm would go off by Monday, that I just figured it could never be as bad as being Narcan twice. So we're home. Thank you, Lord, for a safe trip back. And I can actually get this almond milk or drink at this little Winco store, their brand, for less. But it was just better than I don't have to drive there, even though it's a mile and a half about. So I've got everything I need for a good while, because I'm not eating much. And I'm thrilled. I could have gotten even more. I didn't want to get more than 4. Because, it's probably cooler in Costco, back in the veggie and fruit area. So absolutely praising God for the watermelon, although I've got to do something drastic with my gut today. So we'll spare you the details. Here's little Lovey and Mercy. It meant so much. Little Mercy, well, Lovey would have, but he's got a seatbelt on, because he would be in the front seat with me if he didn't. And I should put a seatbelt on her. She's got one, but she likes to get up here, and I spoil her, which isn't good if we'd have to stop suddenly or have an accident. But I'm ultra careful driving also. So the main thing is I cannot afford to go out of myself while I'm driving. So thus this video. And my pain must be lower, because when I was yesterday tried to do videos, it would keep going off. So I'm not interfering with electronics yet anyway. But little Mercy stands over at the window, at her back window there, and she watches for me. And she sees me coming with the cart, and she just gets so excited. It's just so special. Makes me just, I told her, it makes me feel so loved, and I hope that they know they're loved. I need to try to, if I get some energy today, get them to the dog park. They need to run. They need to run. Yeah, you're a sweetheart, and Lovey's a sweetheart too, aren't you, Lovey? He's busy looking out. He loves to look out. He's a character. God bless His real presence in us. I'm going to talk about suffering in a video. Got several videos of more worthy content than talking about myself. So, and my issues. So, I'll do that probably today, because I don't see that I'm going to be able to do a lot of, where are they? You can't see my, I guess it's that way. My saw out there on top of a trash can, on top of a board. And I'd been working on the 2 days ago. I couldn't yesterday, but I'll try today a little bit. I think that my dad used to have all these things, give it the old college try. So I'll try a little bit. God bless you all.